Okay, any data set, let me check it here. Yeah, I have to check it here. Let me complete this portion. Okay, maybe next time I'll come up with a uh, another example here. I would say yes. I have understood your thing that what you want to have it here. Yeah. But let me complete this portion here. Yeah. So if error here. Yeah, after not function, we are going for the if error here. See, not function, I would say that we are not using just simply a not function. Okay, we are normally taking it as a part of, let's say, a formula. Yeah, we are taking it a combination with any other function here. So normally we don't use like equal to not of true is false or not of false is true. We are trying to use it in a combination with other example, other function here. So I'll try to identify that example and I'll try to show it in the next session. Yeah. Now we come to the if error here. Okay, if error function. So there are here actually two kind of function I would like to show you. One is known as if error and another one is known as is error. Is error function. Okay. One is if error, another one is error. Yeah. So suppose here we are having the some kind of text, numbers, logical things, and this is that error. Okay. What is this error here? It is division by zero. So sometimes you must have seen that if you are dividing anything by zero, then it is giving you infinity. So that is an error. Okay. So if you are having, let's say in one of the column, you are having some few places, you are having some error and you want to identify that whether it's an error, then here you can use, first of all, I'll show you this is error function and then we'll come to the if error function. So is error will identify the error, whether it is there or not. Okay. So what I'll do now in this cell, I've created one extra column here. You can also create these kind of extra column is error. And now here in this cell, I'll write down equal to is error, is error. Let me make it bigger for you. Okay, so here I'm writing. Okay, so I'm typing here equal to is error. Now in is error, I have to take the value. Yeah, there is only one argument that is value. So I have to select this cell here. I have to check it here whether this is an error. This is not an error. This is the text. So equal to is error bracket what? I have taken here the C6 cell. I want to check here whether it is an error or not. Bracket complete. Press enter. And here what we are getting the answer false. False means this is not an error. Yeah. So is error is always checking whether there is an error or not here. Now what I'll do, I will drag this formula down. And when I drag the formula down here, I'm getting true because this is an error. Yeah, this is identified as an error. Hashtag div slash zero exclamation mark. This is an error. While all the other things are either logical values or numbers or some text. So here everywhere it is written here false, false, false. And here this is written true. So is error will give you the answer either true or false. If there is an error, it will show you true. If there is no error, it will show you here false. This is what is the function of is error. Yeah. Now, if this is clear, then we can go for if error. Let us see how if error is different from the is error. So here also, if I write down equal to if error, okay, if error, if the is the function name. In the if error, now you can see that here we are having two criteria. Okay, value and value if error. So what I have to check? Equal to if error bracket. I select this cell, that is C6, comma. Now, if this is an error, suppose, then what you want to show, okay? What kind of thing you want to show here if there is an error? So value if error. So I can write down in double quote, this is an error, double quote complete. Okay, I want to, if there is an error here in this particular cell C6, then I want to get the error message. This is an error. Yeah. Or I can write down anything else. I can write down here 0, or I can write down here true or whatever. Yeah, in the second portion. But just now I'm writing here the text. This is an error in double quote. Bracket complete. Press enter. And here what I'm getting? Data analytics. So if there is no error, then it will show you exactly that same word over here. Here it is data analytics. Here also it will show you data analytics because there is no error here. Yeah, let me drag the formula down. So here also it is 100, 100, true, true, false, false. But now this is an error. Yeah, this is an error. So that's why here it is showing me the text. This is an error. Yeah. So what this if error will tell you, if error will identify the error also. And plus, whenever it's identify the error, then if you want to highlight with some number or some kind of a text message, then you can write down the text message in that if error. While is error will always identify or will always tell you whether there is an error or not. If there is an error, it will show you true. If there is no error, it will show you false. Yeah. So this is the major difference between is error and if error. If error will also identify the error, but instead of showing you that true or false, it can also show you this kind of error message. This is an error. Or you can get some numbers here. Yeah. So this is the difference here between the if error and the is error. Got it? In Excel, error always start with hashtag. That is yes. That is true. Normally, yeah, it starts with that hashtag. Yes. Yeah. So there are various kind of error. This is one of the error type, but there can be other errors also. Yeah. Okay. So now, if this is clear, then let us go to the next thing. This is very interesting now. So we go to the next sheet here, which is known as formula auditing. Formula auditing here. So what we are doing here, that we are having in the formula auditing sheet, we are having here the products. There are 3 products here, chair, table, and desk. Then we are having their quantity, we are having the price, and then we are calculating the total. So 3125, what is 3125? It is 125 multiplied by 25. That will give you 3125. If you double click here in the cell D2, if you double click, it is written here formula equal to B2 multiplied by C2. Yeah. See, suppose, see when you see these kind of text, when you see these kind of numbers, sometimes you have to double click and then you will be able to see the formula. But suppose if you want to see in the whole sheet that where the formula is available, then there is one special button here. I'll show you. If you click on this formulas tab, go to the formulas tab. In the formulas tab, we are having one button here in the formula auditing area that is known as show formulas. Okay, so go to the formulas tab and you click here this button show formulas. If I click it, yeah, as soon as I click it here, you can see that I'm getting here the formula. Yeah, whatever the cells it's having the formula, it will show me that formula. Yeah, so this is a very, very important button here, show formulas in the formulas tab. If I again click this show formulas button, again I'm getting the text here or these numbers. Yeah, now I'm not able to see any formula because I've clicked that show formulas again. Yeah. So here we have done this calculation. Now we are calculating the text here. How the text is calculated here? It is 3125 multiplied by 8 percentage. 8% of 3125, it is 250. If I double click here, what is written here? Equal to $E $8, that is this one, multiply by D2, that is D2 is this one. Yeah, so it is giving you the answer here 250. Similarly, it will be $E$8 multiplied by D3 3240, it will give you the answer here 259.2, and similarly it will be 104.4. 1305 of 8%, it is this one. Yeah, so this is fine. Now here in this formula step, you can see here we are having here these two things in the formula step, that is trace precedence and trace dependence. Okay, these two things. So what I'll do, I will select this cell here. You select this cell D2. Okay, select this cell D2, and then you go to the formula step and you click this button trace precedence. You click this button here, trace precedence, in the formula step, and now as soon as you click the trace precedence, it will now show you these two errors. Actually, there are two errors here. One arrow is coming from 125 to 3125. Another arrow is coming from 25 to 3125. What it is showing me here, that for this D2 cell, the precedence means the earlier cells are these two cells, because how you get this 3125? You are getting this 3125 by using these two cells, 125 multiplied by 25. So these are your precedent cells. So if you want to see that how this formula is calculated, from which cells it is using to do this kind of calculation, yeah, then you can click here this button trace precedence. Yeah, if I put my pointer here, then here it is written trace precedence. Show arrows that indicates which cell affect the value of the currently selected cell. Use control plus this bracket to navigate to precedence of the selected cell. So if I want to know that which cells are used to calculate this 3125, then I can click on the trace precedence. Yeah, similarly, if I select this cell 3240, if I click trace precedence, it will show me this arrow. If I click here 250, suppose 250, and if I click trace precedence, then 250, how I'm getting this 250? I'm using this 3125, and I'm also using this E8 cell. Okay, so see, these two arrows are coming over here in the 250, because these two cells are precedents. Yeah, so this is what we mean by auditing. Yeah, you can see here what is this section here known as formula auditing. Yeah, so this is how you do this thing. Okay, now if you want to remove these arrows here, then you are having this button here, remove arrows. Yeah, you can also, if you click this drop down here in the remove arrows, you can go for remove arrows. You can remove precedent arrows, you can remove dependent arrows. Currently we are having precedent arrows. I can click on this remove precedent arrows, or I can also use remove arrows, and now all the arrows are gone. Yeah, so trace precedence means it will show you from which cell this answer is coming. Yeah, similarly, I can select this cell 125 or this cell B2. I can select this cell B2, and now I can click this button known as trace dependence. What is trace dependence? Trace dependence means show arrows that indicate which cells are affected by the value of the currently selected cell. So where this cell is used, 125. If you want to know where this cell is used, then you have to select this cell B2, and you have to click now this button known as trace dependence. If I click this button trace dependence, so I can see that this 125 is used in 3125. Okay, definitely 125 is used in 3125 cell. Again, if I click this trace dependence, again, if I click it trace dependence, then now you can see that 3125, yeah, this 125 is indirectly also used in calculating 250. 125 is also indirectly used in calculating 250. Indirectly, I'm using the word indirectly, not directly. Which is the direct cell which is affected by 125? It is 3125. But 250 is also affected by this 125 indirectly. Okay, because 3125 is calculated from 125, and to calculate 250 we are using 3125. So overall indirectly 250 is affected by 125. So whenever you want to see that this cell is affecting which cell, then you have to go for the trace dependence. And if you are selecting one cell and if you want to know that from which cell it is doing the calculation, then you have to go for the trace precedence. This is the difference here. Yeah. So just use all these, both these options. Select one cell, check trace precedence or trace dependence, and you'll be able to understand this thing. Yeah. As such, I've given this clarification. And whenever you want to remove the arrows, click on this remove arrows, and all the arrows are gone. Good. So this is trace dependence and trace precedence. Now here I'd like to show you one more function here. Yeah, now there are two things which are remaining, and then we'll wind up the today's session. So we are now having here formula text. Now see, what is this formula text here? See, suppose if you are having, let's say, one sheet, and that sheet is Excel sheet is containing lot many formulas. Yeah. So what you want to do, you want to create one kind of an index. Yeah, you want to tell the user that okay, I've used so and so formula in this whole sheet. So you want to create a index kind of thing. Okay, or table of content. Just as we are creating the table of content, you want to create a table of the formulas. So normally, suppose if I here I have put the formula in this cell, that is B2 to B2 multiplied by C2, and similar formula I have also used in this D3 cell and D4 cell. Here I have used another formula, that is here I have used equal to $E $8 multiplied by D2. So this is another formula. So what I want to do here in these two cells, I want to create here a list of formulas, and I want to showcase that I have used these formulas here. So whenever you want to showcase here the formula, then I have to use here the function which is known as formula text. Yeah, as such, I have shown you this button here, show formulas. If I click on show formulas, I'll be able to see all these formulas in the whole sheet. Okay, but that is not a convenient method. So what we can do here, we can create here a list of formulas. So I write down here equal to formula text. Okay, the function name is formula text, and inside the formula text, I have to use the reference. Let me select this cell here, D2 cell, where I've used one formula. So equal to formula text bracket D2. You can write down here D2, D3, D4 because they are having the same formula. So D2 bracket complete, that's all, equal to formula text D2 bracket. And now you are getting here the formula. So suppose if I write down directly here like B2 multiply by C2, if I directly write down here, and if I, as soon as I press enter, it will show me here this number. It will not show me the formula here. But what I want to see here, I want to see the formula itself. So whenever you want to see the formula, then you have to write down here you have to use the function here known as formula text. Got the point? If I want to show also this formula here, which I have used for the text calculation, I can write down in this cell equal to formula text bracket what? Bracket I take here E2 bracket complete. Yeah, I've taken here E2 bracket complete, press enter, and now here I'm getting that formula. Okay, here I don't have to click the show formulas here. Okay, when I click on the show formula, then here it will be showing me this formula text bracket E2 equal to formula text bracket E2. But if I don't click on the show formulas, it will show me the formulas in the text form. Yeah, it will show me the formula in the text form here. So this is the function known as formula text. The last thing for today, which is again the interesting part here, that is evaluate formula. Evaluate formula. Now see, you must have seen these kind of, let's say, calculation equal to 8 multiplied by 2 plus 9 minus 8 multiplied by 4. Okay. So here we are having these kind of calculation, and what I was saying here, that sometimes we are getting confused that from where we have to start. So BODMAS principle you must be knowing. Yeah. uh, BODMAS, B stands for bracket. Yeah, brackets of brackets, then I think so O stands for something, but D stands for division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Okay. Order of powers, yes. Order of powers, yes. So B for bracket, O for order of powers means something greater than yeah, about two or three or something like that. And then we have division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So we have to use this formula here. Yeah, this principle here, BODMAS principle. So now here we can also check that how Excel has calculated this thing, how Excel has used this calculation. So see here the answer is 23. Yeah, when you do this calculation, the answer will be 23. So suppose if I want to know that how Excel has done this calculation, what I can do, I can select this cell G4. Okay, please select this cell G4, and then you click this button here, evaluate formula. In the formulas tab, you click this button here, evaluate formula. Select the cell, which one? G4, where 23 is written. You click this button, evaluate formula, and then here you will be able to see this box. Okay, this dialog box. First of all, it is showing you here that it will do this multiplication, 8 multiplied by 2. Now see here, you can also go for 8 divided by 4. Yeah, because it is starting with the division. You can also go for 8 divided by 4, but you can also go for 8 multiplied by 2 also. So here it is showing me that it is 8 multiplied by 2. Yeah, it will do the first thing here. Then what I have to do, I have to click on this evaluate button. If I click evaluate button, then 8 multiplied by 2 is 16. Then it will add the 16 to 9. Again, I click on evaluate. So 16 plus 9 is 25. Yeah, you'll be able to see in your diagram, in your that dialog box, okay, because this is very small. And then it will take here 8 divided by 4. Next thing, I click on evaluate function. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And finally, I get here 25 minus 2. I click on evaluate function, evaluate button, and I get finally here 23. So this is how I can evaluate this kind of formula, which is coming first, which is coming second. Yeah, that I can do it here. Okay, suppose let me put here bracket. But it will do, let me put here this bracket. Okay. Bracket. And now if I click this evaluate formula, okay, here also you can go for anything. Yeah. 8 by 4, 8 by 2. Okay. So here you can click evaluate, 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 and then finally it will give you the answer here. Yeah. So this is how you can evaluate any formula. See one more thing here, you can see that here in here it is written like this, equal to 8 multiplied by 2 plus 9 minus 8 divided by 4. Now the question will come that why here it is not showing you the answer 23, because here the same formula is written equal to 8. Okay, the same formula is written, but here it is giving me the answer 23 while here it is not giving me 23. Here it is showing me the whole formula. Why? Because if I double click here, you can see that there is a comma here or some quote here. If I put here quote, and then if I write down here this thing, then it will be showing me like this. It's a one kind of a text here. Suppose if here also if I put here quote, single quote, I press enter, you see it will be shown like this only. So this is the power of that quote, single quote. If I remove that quote, If I press enter, now it will be showing me here 23. Okay, so this is another example of you can use if you want to see show the formula here. Yeah, you can put here a single quote in front of equal to, and then it will be shown as a text here. Okay, so first of all, we'll start with this pivot table. So here we'll be taking the three major topics, that is pivot tables. Then we'll go for the topic of slicers, and then we'll go for the topic of pivot chart. Okay, so pivot tables, pivot charts, and slicers. These are the three major topics over here in this particular file. So let us start with our pivot tables. Yeah, so those who have not opened, please open this file, pivottables.xls. So here, as you can see that we are having here 6 sheets. So we are having the creating sheet, the first sheet, where we are having this table. So this is a, you can say a salesperson or the sales table of a furniture manufacturing company. Yeah, assume that there is a big furniture manufacturing company, and whatever the sales they have done, or whatever the sales their salesperson has done, all the details are over here. So here we are having the salesperson's name, then what kind of products that they are selling to their customer. So here later on we'll see that there are 5 products of furniture. Then these are the, here we'll be seeing the region. So there are 4 regions over here. We have northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. Then these are the customers. Now see, these are not the final end users. Yeah, so these are the, you can say the retailers. Okay, so suppose if the furniture manufacturing company, they don't directly sell to the end user. Okay, they sell through the retailers. Okay, so these are all the retailers. Here also we'll see that there are 5 retailers over here. Then this is the date of selling. Okay, so here it is simply written date, but if you want, you can also change the title to sales date. Then this is the item cost for each of these item, like media, armoire, bamboo, and table. Yeah, individual item cost. Then we have the number of items. Yeah, so here if you want, I can also change this title of number of items. Okay, instead of number items, I have changed it to number of items if you want to do it. Okay, it's not compulsory. So these are the number of items which are sold. Let's say this is the person Terry Mello, and Terry Mello has sold 12 media armoire to this BNB spaces on so and so date. Okay, so these are the 12 number of items. So now finally we have the total cost, or you can also say total revenue, that is 12 multiplied by 340.95. Okay, now as you remember in my last session that in Germany we use here comma instead of dot. Okay, so just I would like to reiterate that point. So here this is a decimal number here, decimal point. So 12 multiplied by 340.95, it is coming to this 4091.40. And likewise, we are having this data set. Okay. So if we go down in this table, so you can say that there are 909 records. Okay, 910 it is shown over here, but the first record, it is of the columns. We are having the column title, so that's why there are 909 records. So I would say that this table is not so big also, not so small also. Yeah. Then apart from that, we are having here the manipulating sheet, date grouping sheet, other grouping. We'll also take a topic of grouping here, then slicers, pivot chart, etc. Okay, so there are these 6 sheets over here. So introduction to pivot table. Okay, so just now I'm assuming that you don't know anything about pivot table. So let us understand what is pivot table here. So what is pivot table? It is a data summarization tool that is used in the context of data processing. Just remember these 3 words. If anybody asks you in interview, what is pivot table? Define pivot table. If you see these 3 words, if you say these 3 words, it's done. Data summarization tool. It's a tool which summarizes the data. Okay. We'll see also how it is done practically. So whenever we are doing the processing, let's say if I talk about this particular file, okay, this particular table, that is this total around 900 plus records are available. Now see, suppose if I tell you that, okay, please tell me that how much sales has been generated by this person, let's say Robert Owen. Okay, so when I say that, okay, I want to know the total sales done by this Robert Owen, okay, then you have to check here that how many records are of Robert Owen. Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to add these numbers here. Let's say this 13. Okay, so 13 plus whatever another number is there. Yeah, so you have to add all those numbers, and then you'll be able to tell me that, okay, Robert Owen has this many sales. Okay, so it will take a lot of time. Okay, and here you are having 1,000 record, but suppose if you are having 10,000 record, or if you are having 100,000 record, then it will take a lot of time. Okay, so let me show you one pivot table example. If you go on the right hand side here, yeah, in this creating sheet, just go on the right hand side, and when you go on the right hand side, you can see here a pivot table. Yeah, this is a pivot table. Yeah, so here we can see all the salesperson. Just to tell you that there are 12 salespersons over here, and these are all those products that we know. Okay, so there are 5 products here: bamboo coffee table, bamboo end table, Captain recliner, chameleon couch, media armor. Yeah, and then here I can see their numbers, the total sales. Okay, now remember that these sales here, if you see this date, sales date, it is having the record of 2 years. Okay, it's a very old record and it's a dummy record. So it is having the record of 2014 and 2015. Yeah, so 2 years record are available here. So here, if you want to know that, okay, how much sales was done by Robert Owen, okay, I told you that thing. So Robert Owen has sold 846 products in 2 years. Okay, that is what I can tell you over here. Now, if you want to check individual sales here, then Robert Owens sold 157 bamboo coffee tables, 120 bamboo end table, 150 Campton recliner, and so on. Yeah. So see the size of this pivot table, very, very small. Okay. We were having 900 plus records, but now that has been made compact into this 12 to 13 record, say 12 records over here. Yeah. So now it is very, very easy. Even if you are having, let's say, 10,000 record of the same salespersons, then also the number of records that you'll be seeing here will be of 12 salespersons only. Okay, so that is the advantage of a pivot table, that it does the data summarization. Okay, so remember those three words, these three words here: data summarization tool. Very, very easy. So pivot table is a data summarization tool used for data processing. Then it is used to summarize, definitely, because it's a data summarization tool. So it is used to summarize. We can do the sorting also, that also I'll show you. Reorganize, group, we can do the grouping here. That is a important topic here. Then count also we can do, total we can do, average we can do, all those things we can do it in pivot table. Yeah, so all those things I'll be showing you practically. Then this third line, you just remember over here, it allows its users to transfer columns into rows and rows into columns. Okay, those who are totally new to pivot table, don't worry. You just remember this line. Yeah, that whatever is available in the rows, now what is rows, what is columns, that we'll see further. But here it says that whatever is available in the rows, we can put it into columns, and whatever is available in the columns, we can put it into rows. So that transfer we can do it, but we'll see practically. Now the important part comes over here. This is what I was telling you. Necessary conditions to be fulfilled before creating the pivot table. Yeah. So this content, I don't remember that from where I got it, but definitely I got it from a particular, from a one website only. So, but I really, I have full regards for that person who has created this thing. Maybe he must have also got it from somewhere else. I don't know, but this is very, very important. And most of the YouTube videos will not have this thing. Yeah, I know this thing personally. So let us see these things, necessary conditions. So necessary conditions, or you can say mandatory conditions. Okay, whatever the conditions that I'll be showing you here, this condition has to be checked by you before you create the pivot table. So don't be in a hurry. Remember this thing. Don't be in a hurry to create the pivot table, because as I said earlier that creating the pivot table will not take less than 1 minute. Okay, so it is very, very easy. But before you jump to creating the pivot table, check these conditions of your that raw data or your main table or data table, whatever you say. So the first condition over here, it is what Shambhu has also said here, that is each column of the data table must have a title. Each column of the data table must have a title. So let us go further here. So see, in our case, let us go to this creating sheet on the left hand side. So here we can check, we have to check that each and every column should have a title. See, sometimes it is possible that you get a raw data and maybe one or two columns may not have the title. Okay, now you'll say that, okay, Samir, how it is possible? But suppose by mistake, I have deleted that title. It is possible. Yeah, we are humans. Remember that we are humans. So we are bound to commit mistakes. Okay, we are not robots. So humans will commit this mistake. So you have to check here. Each and every column should have a title. Okay, header, or you can say like header. So this is one thing. Then I will keep this presentation like this only because I'll not make it full screen. Now the second condition is over here. That is the column title should be written in a single row. The column title should be written in a single row. So see here, these titles are very, very small. Yeah, salesperson, product, region, customer, date, etc. So titles are small, but sometimes the titles are very long enough. So when the titles are long enough, then what we have a tendency that we write down the titles into two rows. Let's say here, if I want to write down the title, total number of employees. Okay, and then in the next line, I write down here, working in marketing department, suppose something like this kind of title I'm having. Okay, so what I feel that, okay, this is a very long title. So let me divide into two rows here. Now, if you are having these kind of title, and if you want to create a pivot table from it, then pivot table will ignore, okay, or it will have a problem. What I'll suggest you that whatever the necessary condition which I'm telling you over here, later on, today, tomorrow, whenever you get some time, you check this condition. That suppose if you don't follow one of these condition also, what will happen? What kind of error you will have? Okay, so please check it. Yeah, this will give you a good understanding here. So here, if this kind of situation is there, that where you are dividing the title into two records or two rows, then what you have to do, you have to keep it in one row only. Okay, just like our Bollywood titles are available, yeah, long titles, yeah. So they can create those kind of long titles, but here if we are having long title, we put it into one row only. Okay, it should have only one row. So this you have to remember. Okay, in our case, all these titles are small, so we don't have any problem. Then the third condition over here, that is in a column, all the items should be of the same data type. I repeat, in a column, all the items should be of the same data type, that is numbers, dates, or strings. So what does it mean? That here, if we come to this particular example, so suppose here you are having salesperson. Okay, you are having salesperson. So salesperson means these are all text. If you ask me data type, then definitely the data type here is the text data type. Okay, so this salesperson column should only contain the text data type. No numbers, no date. Okay, or no Boolean character, that is true and false. Similarly, product also it's a text data type. Yeah, region also text data type, customer also text data type. So you have to check it here. Okay, now how to check this thing? You can go for the data. In the data tab, you are having the filter button. Okay, or if you want to get here the filter button, then the shortcut is Control Shift and L. Control plus Shift plus L, or if you can directly go to the data tab and click this filter button. So here, when you click on the filter button, you'll be able to see the elements. Okay, so suppose if customer column is having some date or some number, you'll be able to see over here. Yeah, if you are having a small table, then you can check it manually also, like this, scrolling up or down. But if you are having a very large table, then better you click this filter button and you can check it over here. Yeah, so all the columns should have the same data type. If you are having a date column, then date column should have only date, no numbers, no text, and so on. Yeah, so that is the here the third condition. In a column, all the items should be of the same data type. Then the fourth one here, that is the data table should not contain any merged cells. There should not be any merged cell here. So if I go to this table, and suppose if I'm having the merge table over here, or merge cell. Okay, so like this. Okay, so this is a merge cell between the product table and the region table. So if you are having this kind of situation, you have to unmerge. You have to make it separate. Okay, you cannot have the merge cell over here. So this is not allowed in your data table if you want to create a pivot table. Yeah, so this has to be remembered. So let me undo. Yeah, so this is the fourth condition. The data table should not contain any merged cells here. Then the fifth point over here, that is the data table should not contain subtotals or grand totals. So if you are having a subtotal here, let's say in here, last time I showed you how to create a subtotal. So here, if I create like this, some kind of subtotal, yeah, I'm having one extra record here. And here I try to create some kind of subtotal for the total cost, then this is not allowed. Okay. So you have to remove all the subtotals, and even if you are having the grand total at the end also, that grand total has also to be removed. Yeah. So no subtotals, no grand totals are permitted here in the data table, in your this main table or data table. Okay. If it is there, you have to remove it. Okay. So the data table should not contain subtotals or grand totals. The sixth point over here is empty rows or columns should not remain within the table. So you should not have any kind of empty row or empty column. If an empty row or column remains, Excel will treat the table as two different ones. So what is this 6 point here? Suppose if you are having this table, okay. Now let us assume that I create one. I'm having here one uh, blank row, or sorry, one blank column here. Okay, so there is a blank column. So what it says that if you see any blank column or blank row or an empty row or empty column, you have to remove it. Why you have to remove it? Because if I'm having these kind of blank column here, then what Excel will consider, Excel will consider that, okay, so Excel, what it will do, it will consider that this is one data table and this is another data table. Okay, so it will consider here two data table. Actually, it is not two data table. It is only one data table. But the problem is that here we are having a blank column. So this is not accepted. Okay. Excel will treat these two as a separate data table. And then if you want to create a pivot table, then you can create one pivot table from these three columns and another pivot table you can create from this another table. But this is not what we want. We want to have the pivot table from the whole table. So remember that whenever you are having this kind of situation where you are having a blank column, or sometimes you may have a blank row also, you have to remove it. You don't keep those things. Okay. So let me remove the blank column over here, and now it is gone. Now Excel will know that, okay, now this is one table only. Okay. Excel will know that this is one table only. Yeah. So this is what is written in this 6 point here. That is, empty rows or columns should not remain within the table. The last point over here is, if you see the starting lines here, after creating a pivot table. Okay, so remember that whatever the 6 points which I showed you just now, these 6 points you have to check it before you create the pivot table. But the last point has to be checked after creating a pivot table. So after creating a pivot table, do not change the titles of the fields in the data table, otherwise the pivot table values will be deleted. So what it says that if I go to this data table, now let us assume, okay, currently we have not created a pivot table, but let us assume that I've created a pivot table. So suppose if I've created a pivot table from this table, then suppose if I'm having a feeling that, okay, here the title is salesperson, but I don't like this title. I want to change the title to salesperson name or name of salesperson. Okay, I want to change the title over here after I create the pivot table. So if I change this title after creating the pivot table, then my pivot table will be showing me wrong data. You can check it what happens. Yeah. If we change the title, then what happens? Let us see this thing. Yeah. Today also we'll see together. Okay. That what happens? What if is there any error which is occurring in the pivot table if I change this title later on, or what happens? Okay. So actually, if you want to really change the title here, what I suggest that you change the titles first of all, wherever you want to change these titles, and then you create the pivot table. So then you will not have any issue. Yeah. So this is the 7th point over here. Okay, there are two desirable conditions. Okay, so up till now we have seen the necessary condition that you have to always check. Okay, but now there are these two desirable conditions. If you are following this desirable condition, it is fine. Otherwise, it will not create that much of problem. So what is the first desirable condition? Unique names for each column. So Excel is suggesting you that you should have unique names for each column. In bracket it is written, when two fields are given the same name, the title of the second field will be appended at end with 2, that is salary 2. So in this example, we don't have any uh, two columns having the same name. Yeah, all columns are having the different name. Now see, sometimes you may have a situation where, let's say you are creating a salary table, and the salary table, we have one column which is known as, let's say, gross salary, and we have one more column known as the net salary. Okay, so actually gross salary and net salary, you know very well that both are different. Yeah, but sometimes, let's say if I'm the data entry operator, I don't care about the titles. Okay, so what I do that I, by mistake also, I give here the title salary, and another column also I give the same title salary. So remember that if two columns are having the same name, salary, yeah, first of all, you should avoid this kind of situation. But if, let us assume that there are these two columns having the same title, then what Excel will do that when you are creating a pivot table, then this first column will be treated as salary only, and the second column title will be written as salary 2. Okay, so two word will be two alpha number will be placed here when you go in the pivot table. Okay, not over here in the main table. When you create a pivot table, then one you'll see the title salary, and the other column will have the title salary 2 in the pivot table. Yeah, so this is the desirable condition, but I will surely suggest that you have to give different names. Okay, so gross salary and net salary, you cannot put salary and salary together. Okay, it has to be given a separate name. And the second desirable condition is that complete data for all records. Yeah, you have to ensure that, or you have to see that your main table is having the all the cells which are filled up. Okay, now sometimes if some of the cells are empty, that's fine. Okay, few cells are empty. First of all, what I do that I suppose if I'm getting the sales data, and if I feel that, okay, there are so many cells, empty cells are there in the table, then I give this sheet back to the sales department. I tell them that, okay, please fill up these blank cells. Yeah, because they know the data very well. Okay, I cannot do any kind of assumption here. Okay, so I send it back to them, and then they will fill up those blank cells, and then they will give it to me. But suppose if there are some few blank cells here and there in this table, then you should not worry. You can keep it blank also. Okay, or you can, let's say, fill up with value like 1, okay, or something else. You can design your own, let's say, logic, and you can put something in the blank cell also. If you keep it blank also, then also no issues. Yeah. So these are the two desirable conditions here. So finally, this was a small presentation of a pivot table. So let me close it. And now let us start with the pivot table here. Yeah. So you come to this creating sheet. Now to create a pivot table, what you have to do? You have to first of all select any one cell within this data table. I repeat, please select any one cell, any random cell within the table. Okay. After you select any one cell within the table, then you have to go to the insert tab here. Okay. So go to the insert tab, and in the insert tab, you have to click this button. The first button is there, that is known as pivot table. Okay. So go to the insert tab and you click this button, pivot table. Now see, if you click this icon also, that's also fine. Yeah, this icon, you can click it, or if you click on the drop down, then in the drop down here, pivot table drop down, you are having here from table oblique range and from external data source. Now see, external data source means, suppose if you want getting the, if I suppose that if I click on external data source, then I have to go to the, let's say I'm getting the data from SQL Server. Okay. So my data is available in the SQL Server. I want to bring that data. So here, if I click on choose connection, then I have to go to that connection. Currently, I cannot show you this thing, but yeah, I have to create a connection with the SQL Server, and then from the SQL Server, I bring the data over here. So that is what we mean by the external data source or any other data source. Okay. Now in this case, we have to go for from table oblique range. Normally, you will use this first option only, from table oblique range. Okay, so in the pivot table, I click on from table oblique range. Now you can see here that as soon as I select here from table oblique range, you see that here this whole table is automatically selected. Can you see this dotted line here? Yeah, this dotted line. So it is automatically selecting the table. So that's why I told you initially that whenever you are creating a pivot table, you have to select one cell within this main table. If you select any outside cell, then it will not be able to create a pivot table. Yeah, so you have to select one cell within the table. Now we are having this dialog box, that is, it says here select a table or range. So see, it has automatically selected this whole range here. How it is written here? Creating. What is creating? Creating is the sheet name, as you can see below. Creating exclamation mark, and then it is written here $A$1. What is $A$1? $A$1 is this cell, the first cell here. Okay, so my table starts from the first cell, $A$1, till what? $H$910. What is $910? Yeah, if I go down, then I'll be able to see the last cell here. Okay. So what I'm saying that, okay, you select the whole table, the data table from A1 till H910. Okay, H column is the last column, as you can see here. So the last cell of the H column is my last cell of the whole table. So from first cell to the last cell, that is what I'm selecting the whole table here. Okay, so here we don't have to change anything. We have to keep it like this only, table oblique range. Now it is asking us that choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. So new worksheet or existing worksheet. Now I can also create a pivot table here in the creating sheet. If I want to do it, I can do it below this main table, or we can also go for the new worksheet. Okay, so let us go for the new worksheet. It is better. So we go for the new worksheet here only. Table oblique range is this one. So I have not changed anything in this dialog box. I kept everything same. And now what we do, we click on the OK button. Okay, just click on in this dialog box, OK button. Now when you click on OK button, now what you see here below, you see here sheet 1. Yeah, now a sheet 1 is created because we told Excel that we want to create a pivot table in the new worksheet. So new worksheet has been created. Currently it is known as sheet 1. And now you can see here on the left hand side that this is your blank pivot table. This is a blank pivot table because here we don't see any data. So it is blank. Yeah, you can say that this is like a skeleton. Okay, it's a skeleton. And now in this skeleton, I have to put the data. Okay, if anybody is finding any problem in creating the pivot table, let me know. Yeah, I can show you. I can also give you the access to the, yeah, you can share your screen and you can let me know. So a new worksheet has been created. A blank pivot table has been created. Now, if you see on the right hand side here, this area, right hand side, what is written here? Pivot table fields. Okay, pivot table fields here. So in the pivot table fields, we are having all these columns here, which are there already in our table. Salesperson, product, region, customer, date, item cost, number of items, total cost. So these are all our columns, or you can say it like fields. Now here below, you can see this another area, this one, that is drag fields between areas below. So here you can see that there are 4 areas or 4 windows, you can say like that. Filter section, column section, rows section, value section. Yeah, below this pivot table fields. So now whatever the fields which we are having over here on the upper area, that we have to use it and we have to fill up here these 4 blocks. Okay, and then accordingly our pivot table will be created. So let us start here. So we will start with a simple pivot table. See, I want to know that how many products are sold by different salespersons. Okay, so I want to do the analysis between the salesperson and the products. Yeah. So what we'll do now? Come on the right hand side. In the right hand side, you see if you are seeing if I'm creating the pivot table for the first time, what I'm doing, I'm selecting this salesperson. Okay, select the salesperson with your mouse and then you drag it and then you put it over here. You drop it here in the rows section. Take the salesperson, come down, and then here you drop it in the rows section. Yeah, so now you can see here that I'm having the salesperson field. Yeah, take this field and you drop it over here with the help of the mouse. Yeah, so now you can see here that we are having here all the 12 salesperson and they are all placed in a row. Yeah, because we have put this salesperson field in the row section. Now what we'll do, we will take the product because I want to do the analysis between the salesperson and the product. So I take the product over here and then I drop it here in the column section. So take the product, put it in the column section. Very easy. So here we can see our pivot table is now getting created. So we are having the bamboo coffee table, bamboo end table, captain recliner, chameleon couch, media armoire, and finally we are also having a grand total here. Okay, so 5 columns, 5 products are seen here. That's fine. Now here we have to put something in this blank area. Yeah, here. So this blank area has to be filled up. So we have salesperson in the row section, product in the column section. Now here we have to put some values here. So what we'll do now, we'll drag this number of items. Okay, number of items, we'll drag it and we put it here in the value section. Okay, drag the number of items and you put it here in the value section. So now here we are getting those numbers. Yeah, these are the revenue figures here. Okay. So very easy. Now one thing before we analyze this data, you can see that here it is written number of items. And if I drag this in the values section, then you see what is the title here. Here in the values section, it is written here sum of number of items. It is doing the summation here, aggregation. Yeah. So it is not simply here number of items in the value section. It is written here sum of number of items. Yeah. So that is what we see over here. Yeah. So now, yeah, this is the figure for the sales figure for the 2 years for each of the salesperson. Yeah, I can also see here on the right hand side, this is the grand total. Now remember that there are two grand totals here. Yeah, one grand total is over here and another one grand total is over here below. Okay. What is this grand total known as? This is known as row. Okay, I'll also put my row grand total here. Yeah. So this is the row grand total and this is the column grand total. Okay.